Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to It's Rainmaking Time. This is Kim Greenhouse. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Rodney Cluff, the author of World's Top Secret, Our Earth is Hollow. He has been a researcher of this subject for over 20 years. He has been in the data management business. He has also been a computer programmer and analyst for the Department of Health Services for 16 years. And one day in New Mexico on a farm began his interest and research into the fact that the earth is hollow. This is against everything we've heard in science, in geology, and yet there are scientific facts showing us that our earth is indeed hollow. And this will impact everything we understand about our solar system, the sun, the earth, and life itself. It will even impact the way we think about our scriptures, no matter what scriptures you're looking at. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Rodney Cluff to It's Rainmaking Time. Good morning.
Good morning. Who's on your show?
Thank you for being here. You know, sometimes when you hear about a new discovery, it is around sometimes for 50 years, for hundreds of years, sometimes for thousands of years before it's accepted. We agree that Columbus discovered America, since that's what we read. When I interviewed Gavin Menzies, who wrote 1421 and 1434, about how there's so much evidence that he actually had maps with him when he discovered America, which lends itself to the fact that others may have been there before. When we think about the earth, Rodney, and the earth being hollow, it's kind of like most of us just want to believe everything we've read or been told. And that's really the juncture where you and I are talking today. Talk a little bit about Admiral Byrd's mission. What actually happened with him? What was he doing? Who was he? Why is he important, and his story important to us in understanding why it is that we cannot fly over the poles?
Admiral Byrd, of course, was working for the United States Navy, but he also received funding from the Rockefellers. And I think that's where he got some of the control in what he was doing taken away from him, is because of those super rich people that were helping fund his explorations of the poles. Back in 1920 or thereabouts, Marshall B. Gardner wrote a book about the hollow earth, and he sent his book to the governments of all the world. He encouraged them to check out the North Polar opening, and in fact they did, and they sent Admiral Byrd on many flights to the North Pole and to the South Pole. And there are indications that he did actually find the polar openings at the both poles and fly in them. In 1980, I took my family and we flew to Fairbanks, Alaska. And there I met a fellow named John Gagne, who at one time was a radio announcer in Juneau, the capital. And one weekend he was outside the city with some buddies, just sightseeing, and up this one canyon. He looked up on this high mountain, and he saw this light up. And pretty soon it turned red and zipped off into space. And back on his radio, he was commenting on it, and he says a couple of days later, a lady came into the office and said her name was Sylvia Darvell, that she had been a close friend of Admiral Byrd from way back, and that Admiral Byrd, after his flight into the Arctic, confessed to her that after they have flown past the ice, they came to open ocean and then to continent covered with lush vegetation. They even saw a mammoth wandering on the terrain below. They were presently sighted by flying saucer-type craft that took control of the airplane landed them near an inner Earth city. He said the people that live inside the hollow Earth are a giant, 10 to 15 feet tall people, but very educated, very highly advanced in the sciences. They claim that they are the guardians of this planet. They told Admiral Byrd that they wanted him to take a message back to our government, and that was that they did not approve of our use of nuclear weapons. We had just blown up 2 cities in Japan at the end of World War II, a couple of years before Admiral Byrd flew up there, and they were very concerned about our use of nuclear weapons, and they wanted to have him deliver to Washington an ultimatum that they did not want us using nuclear weapons anymore. And he was put back in his airplane, taken up in the sky, and they let him come back and delivered his message. But when he delivered his message, they told him not to tell anybody about it. It was super top secret, world top secret. But still, he tried to get his message out, and apparently he did, because we have some accounts of it.
What happened to him?
Well, the last I heard that something happened to him, that he died just a couple of years later after his flight into the after returning from a flight in Antarctica, in which he made it to the Hollow Earth also. It was just a couple of years later that he mysteriously died. So I am curious that maybe he was eliminated because he wouldn't keep quiet about what he discovered.
Why is there a no-fly zone over Antarctica? What is this about?
Yeah, it is curious that there's a place in the Antarctic that the powers that be just don't want people going around there. There was a ski trip that was taken across Antarctica, and it was supposed to go across that area, which we believe could be the polar opening down there. And they got to part way, and they were told not to go any further. So there is an effort to keep this discovery secret from the world. There was a Canadian Department of Defense minister, I think his name is Paul Hellyer, that spoke with a high government official in our government about, he wanted to know about the flying saucer aspect. And he was told that flying saucers are top secret by an official in our government. And if flying saucers are top secret, then the Hollow Earth is even above that. So that's why I call it world top secret, because that's the place where most of these flying saucers are coming from. Dr. Stephen Greer has interviewed hundreds of people who have worked in black projects, ex-military, and several of his technical experts. You can order his DVD and listen to their testimony. Say that the most frequented locations that flying saucers are seen are around atomic military installations. And in fact, several of these expert witnesses have testified that flying saucers or UFOs have actually shut down like nuclear missile sites just